Thank you. You made the point about the wall, and I think what's interesting, because this also ties back with Oren's point, you can try to wall in a pure space, but you can't do it. And the fact, in a sense, there is no such thing as a pure space. And if we were, one of the things that's happening with Israel right now, and it's one of my rather perverse readings of where the whole Palestinian thing comes from, one of the things that's happening with Israel right now, of course, is that the Jewish communities within Israel are so fractious, are so multiply sided against each other, that Israel more and more desperately needs not a pure space, because a pure space would simply explode from internal contradictions. What it needs in that pure space is a series of antagonistic irritants, even if it has to make them itself, to make sure that everybody can feel afraid and everybody can feel we are Israelis against those goddamned Arabs. So I'm not saying that you know the various small bombings or missile launchings or whatever are done by the Israelis. But what I am saying is the Israelis desperately need those kinds of things so they can say, stop looking at your Ashkenazi, Sephardi, Mizrahim neighbor and hating his guts. Look, there's somebody you can hate more. And I think that whole thing about the pure spaces don't work. And pure spaces don't work because there's no such thing as purity.
Can I just make
exactly.
Yes.
We always need somebody to hate. And if there is war, I mean, an Israeli psychotherapist told me when she came after the 6-day war, she told me, we need the Arabs to hate, otherwise we'll kill each other.
Well, picking up on that point, Gilad has this very good remark in his book about an anti-Semite used to be someone who hated Jews, and now an anti-Semite is someone whom Jews hate.
Yeah.
And there's a very interesting, you mentioned Anthony Julius before, and there's a very interesting story about how as a child he first became aware of anti-Semitism, and he was in a train with his father, and his father was furious because he'd taken Julius's sister to a party of obviously non-Jews in Manchester, and when he'd collected her, they said, oh, she was very well behaved. And this was a sign of the anti-Semitism of the people whose party she'd been at, because clearly they expected, because she was Jewish, she was going to be very badly behaved. And you know, if these are the kind of things, and it really makes the point that clearly these were people that his father wanted to hate, and therefore they were anti-Semites. And I think that was, if that's how his suspicion of anti-Semitism began, it shows the kind of weakness and feebleness of the whole concept.
It is a very...
Madam, I've seen you. We're just dealing with the end of this question. Excuse me. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a very interesting issue that we are tapping into. There is a very complicated relationship between our self-love and our constant fear that we may not deserve it. And I talk a lot about it, I write a lot about it, is the who we claim to be, the discrepancy between whom or what we claim to be and what we happen to be. And this discrepancy is at the heart of definitely Israeli psychosis, collective psychosis. And this is why they are bouncing all the time, and this is why they make a social revolution 1 week, and then there is a chance to have a war. So they say, oh, forget pause the revolution, we're now going to bombard Gaza, and then we come back. There is no constancy, there is no continuity at all. And this is exactly the story that you spoke about, you know, it's like, oh, are we really well behaved? Are we that great? Or maybe that we don't behave very well. And I think that it is very, very complicated for Jews to live as such, you know, and this is, talking about Oren is very familiar with early Romanticism, you know, ecstasis. Ecstasis, to live your life, to enjoy your life. This is one of the promises of Zionism, and this is something that Zionism obviously failed to achieve, but Jewish identity in general is not going to achieve it because of this self-awareness, and this discrepancy between self-love and self-hatred is not going to lead them anywhere.